Hope you enjoyed this one. This is I'll give a latest review on God Eater episode 3 and episode 4. Oh, sorry if I hadn't made the last week, just been a little swamped. Uh, First of all, we get it's on the Far East branch of Fenrir. They're gonna go on a rescue mission for a ship that's under attack by Aragami, and the ship holds a very important cargo, a new type named, named Alisa Inorisha Alderaso. Basically, Alisa. I'm just gonna call her Alisa from now on. Man. Alisa basically is a new type, and it's a new type. Basically, like Lenka, our main protagonist. Yes, yes. First of all, the episode I really did like the first one, because it shows that they're fighting the Aragami. It does, in a very unique way, but it shows them more than fighting, because they're doing it on an airplane. I've heard of many fights in anime, but there's none. But there's not. I don't recall there's been many anime fights that were done on airplanes. Not a lot of that. Not a lot of anime does it. One of my favorite anime that did it was Trinity Blood, and that involves super vampires called Methuselah, Methuselah and Kruzniks. But enough about that detail. And androids. Christian Sabbath. I love that guy. But the thing is very clear here. Link, Elisa is something that they don't want to lose. With the far events of Fenrir, they don't want to lose that, because as a new type, she's a valuable asset in the war, and can be used, and it's a very unique combative capabilities. She's a very pro badass, going solo, although, and from what tell she's Russian. She comes from Europe. Well, and meaning there are also multiple branches of Fenrir trading leaders to defeat Aragami in other parts of the world. That's understandable. The more and more I look at this anime, the more and more it reminds me of Blue Gender and Neon Genesis Evangelion. More and more I watch this, because it's a bleak world where monsters rule, and society has to hide behind the shadows, basically. And humanity has to hide shadows. And that's one of the things I like. Hank. Then you got the first unit. They arrive. They tried to fight the enemy to try to save Elisa. Lisa. But the thing is, they don't want to abandon. They want to abandon the ship and just take Elisa. But Elisa, she's had to go, even though they fight the Aragami off, and she doesn't want to leave. She even kicks Lake's ass a little bit. She proves that she's definitely very pro badass. I once mentioned, he's like definitely trained for military combat, has a lot of experience with this situation, into certain situation in combat, which means that if she can knock down the Argonian, there'll be no problem for her to knock off a human, basically, even if it's another God Eater. And that's one of the things I like. I know, but at least she's very strict, a little, and doesn't show a lot of emotions. However, she does care in a way. Okay. I like the first episode and while the Aragami they're fighting and they're continuing to fight. I and the first unit, Lenka, Usu, and the others, they fight them off. They're doing their best. As they know, I like that how there's more capabilities to the God Arc, their weapons, and that their weapons can transform not just into swords and guns. It can be used to devour the enemies. Enemies can take them and convert them into fuel for their weapons. That's why one of the nicknames they got. That's one of the how they got their nickname, God Eaters, basically. That's very interesting. Oh, yeah, also, I gotta know that the Aragami, they're not simple-minded creatures. That's for damn sure. I've noticed that too, because they're not simple-minded that way. Some of them even, probably some of them even like evolved in a way. They're starting to go. I think they started to understand the situation and that they were getting into, and they adapted to the situation. Some of them changed into even more hideous creatures, like probably even more intelligent, which means that they do have some intelligence, some on par with humans, but some not. That's one of the things I note. Uh, Also, I mentioned before that Lisa, she doesn't show any emotions like any emotions but she does care for people. For example, the crew was only assigned the first unit was only there to recover Elisa, But the thing is, Elisa didn't want to leave the ship because there were civilians on board. She didn't want to let them die, and that's why she was so resistant to them taking her away. She want she wanted to stay to help fight so they can escort the ship to safety so she can save their lives. That's one of the things I like. Another thing I noticed about Elisa, she does, even though she does show a lot of emotions, like there's a part of her. She's obviously been through a lot, like Lenka. So basically, she's obviously been through a lot. Probably a lot more than Lenka, but you get the point. One of the things that probably took my breath away was that King Aragami, that massive giant, that was in the clouds in the background with all those tentacles and appendages out there. I'm gonna call that like the king. I'm gonna call that the King Aragami for now, cause I've not seen anything like that. So far, it's only been 3 episodes, and all the Aragami, that was the biggest so far. There's only been 4 episodes, and those were the biggest, and that was the biggest. I wonder if it's the only one of its kind. But if it's not, then I can understand why here and Aragami are so, Fenrir and the God Eaters gotta be so hesitant. Also, also one of the things I got know about episode 4. Episode 4 and 3. One of the things I gotta note is those flashback about those 3 scientists. And one of them is Johannes, as he was in charge of making oracle cells and changing things, and in charge of research data. One of the things I noticed is that when they were doing their experiments, him, another scientist, and a woman who's also another scientist. I think she was like the direct. I think she's the head. I think she's one of the administrators, the one that told Lincoln that you're no good, called her no good, not call him no good, but thinks that he's not worth anything and disapproves of him. I think she was one of the scientists. They look a lot alike, like especially in the background where you can't tell with the colors and black and white. That's one of the things. From the experiment they try to do something, but the experiment, like something went wrong, and the cells expanded and evolved and even attacked them a little bit, which led to the conclusion that those 3 scientists are the ones that created the origami. Like you made something, it went out of control, it spread out, and it dominated the world. Like those creatures basically created humanity's worst enemy. That's messed up. And now one of those scientists, Johannes, is now the director of the Eastern branch of Fenrir. Yeah, he's been the guy that you saw in the first episode, second episode, the one that basically approved that helped the first unit like take Lenka, under their wing, basically. Yeah, that guy. Johannes, Johannes, he seems like a very serious person, and I see him like that's probably one of the reasons why he was chosen as director. But if that Johannes, what happened to the other 2 scientists? Like I said before, the lady who's like a supervisor, and she's one of them, and the other one, I have no idea where he is. So basically, it just leaves like a lot of things to understand. Anyway, as Elisa and Lenka, they're introduced to Johannes. They talk a little bit. Johannes saying the future of humanity is on their shoulders. That does remind me of Attack on Titan a little, basically. Like humanity rests on your shoulders. Like they're also later after that, they're assigned to the first unit. And not only that, so this Lenka's friend Luko, he's also assigned as a God Eater, basically. However, he doesn't have a lot of combat experience. As things start to go, I have to understand a little. Things are starting to get a little hesitant. And for example, Linko, he has Elisa and Lenka to go with him to the city inner works. And at first they're both hesitant not to go, especially Elisa. But Lenka went with Liko anyway. So basically, he saw some of the poverty and the background of certain people's homes. And he saw that certain people who are not wealthy, a lot of people who are not wealthy, who don't live in the city, they live in huddles and shelters, basically huddles and and small neighborhood that has like very low housing. Basically, they're like the poor people like low class, the common people, the 99%, that the people that can't get help. And they can start understanding. They're also in also the same area where the Angami attacked and killed so many soldiers and people. That part's understandable because Lenka, he's obviously been through a lot. He's seen this before. Also, oh, so Lenko explains to Lenka what the Argis project is. The Argis is basically a huge evacuation center where the people who are going to be evacuated to once the project is complete. So when Aragami attack, they can't get in. They can't get in. So basically, it's a safe zone. But the thing is, the project is not finished, and that's why they're probably going to need Alisa and Lenka to help with the project, help accelerate it by taking down as many Aragami as possible before they make their final move. That part I understand. Later you get into battle at the field. Each of the team members are each of the new rookies are all tied to different members, Alisa was the leader. You know, Linka's with Sakura and Loco's with the that one guy, guy that's in the corner, with the white hair, Lucros, who's basically Stoneman, who's not basically very friendly. And if he's not very friendly, their job is to take out this Aragami. It basically has a horn on its head that can shoot like liquid projectiles. At first, it doesn't seem. At first, they go to fight, but slowly it looks like the rookies they're not following their place. For example, Alisa, she goes off on her own. She doesn't listen to orders. She's obviously been a solo act for a long time, which is why she doesn't follow orders. As for Loco, he basically hesitated a little and almost got killed until Samura saved him. And finally, Lenka, he tries his best. He even killed one of the Aragamis, but in the end, it didn't add up to much. One of the good things about this episode I liked is they saw some civilians. They tried to help them. They even escorted them to the base. Escorted them to the, trying to help them get inside past the border. But the problem is they didn't came to proper channels because they're outsiders and like Lenka. They didn't. Their situation was approved. So basically, at the moment when Lenka tried to save a lot of people and try to help them, they got turned away and tossed out into the wild where the monsters are literally waiting for him. That's one of the things that's one of the things I gotta notice about this anime. I mean, this anime is not for the soft-hearted. If you like action and drama and a world where people are at war and society is doing its best to survive, only by a few clicks, and even those, and sometimes you have to make a few sacrifices. This is definitely anime for you. In fact, this anime is supposed to be based on a video game, a very harsh video game, from what I could tell, and the story is not for the prudent. So that's one of the things I like about this anime. It leaves you wanting more. I want to see what happens next for Lenka. And now that he's a God Eater, and now he's working with these people, the first unit, that means he's going to be at the front line of battle. That means what he's experiencing now is going to get a lot worse. I want to see him grow and develop into ways that I've never seen before. What do you think? Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe. Thank you. This is Solomon Adams giving you on God Eater episode 3 and episode 4. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe. See you soon.